So, you are the prodigy everyone is talking about. Interesting. I am Teola Aranthia, son of Lorius I and Grandmaster of the Order, and I'm honored to meet you. What is your name?
Last time you wanted to see me.
Yes, and I will come straight to the point. You are here because I believe that you are special. Humanity faces a threat that needs to be stopped, and to achieve this, you are indispensable.
You're talking about the Red Madness, aren't you?
Among other things, yes. I do not need to explain to you that the present situation on Vin is chaotic. The wars, the living dead, common people who are losing their minds, to name only the most obvious. What most people are not aware of is the connection between these events. You, however, have encountered it, as have I.
These visions, so you know where they come from.
I do. And I will explain everything to you. What it means, who we are, and what your part in all of this is. Come, follow me. Maybe you already know who I am. My entire life, I served the gods who ruled Vin, until their death 2 years ago. What you probably do not know is that the one responsible for their death is my son, Narazul Dial. He hated the Lightborn because he believed that they robbed mankind of their right to freedom, so he strived to overthrow them. He found followers, formed an army and declared war on them, and thus on me, a servant of the Lightborn as well. It all ended in a battle 30 years ago, which Narazul won. He killed every single survivor except for me, and locked me in a dungeon on Nerim. I still do not know why he spared me.
If Naranfiel was your son, why did he hate the gods so much? Shouldn't he have been, I don't know, devoted to them?
There were circumstances favoring the development, but it's a long story which we won't discuss now.
The Lightborn are really dead. If you, the Order of the Gods, acknowledge that fact, why don't people know about it?
Good question. Because at the moment stability is the highest good, even more so considering what we are facing. The rulers of Kira and Kile both made the mistake to acknowledge the death of the gods to their people, and the civil wars that followed in their countries are evidence of the chaos that such a revelation entails. Enderal is the cradle of the Order of the Gods, the epitome of theocracy. It is unthinkable what would happen if we confirmed these rumors. I am sure you understand this. Maybe when all this is over that will change, but for now it is imperative that we deny all rumors of that kind.
You managed to free yourself.
Yes, after more than 30 years, when the death of the gods made the magic around the prison disappear. And during my escape in the northern mountains of Nerim, I also had them for the first time. The dreams.
It all started with the dreams, as they say.
I always saw the same glaring, terrible light. Heard screaming, and I felt like I was burning up from the inside. And above all, like a veil, there was the knowledge of imminence. At first, of course, I dismissed these dreams as the delusion of a man close to death. So I concentrated on making it through the mountains somehow. 2 days after my escape, I was completely exhausted, and I would have died if a former acolyte of my son had not found me.
An acolyte of your son, but weren't they your enemies then?
Yes, but he did not recognize me, and brought me to their headquarters instead, an old monastery in the mountains. The others were aware of my identity, but for whatever reason they did not kill me. Maybe because they thought that the death of the Lightborn had made me insignificant. I do not know. Still, even after my recovery, the dreams continued. At first I doubted my sanity. But after some time I told the leader of the mages, Constantine, about them. And he said something that I'd never expected. I was not alone. He, as well as many others magically gifted on Vin, dreamed the same dreams. And the more we talked, the better, the stronger our suspicion grew, which has now turned out to be the truth. The dreams, they come from the same place. They are a shared memory.
A shared memory? You mean the dreams originate from what? A common mind?
A collective subconscious, yes. I know that you can feel it too, and probably far more intense than we do. But like you back then, we were not able to make sense of the images. So we went looking for answers in the remains of the civilization that was before us. The Pyreans.
Oh, hello. Thus, the excavations like in old Rashgrand. What did you find out?
Three things. First, there were many civilizations before us and before the Pyreans. Maybe hundreds, maybe thousands. Second, the history of each civilization unfolded and still unfolds according to a pattern. They emerge, they blossom, and at some point, at the apex of their existence, they simply disappear without any trace. And third, everything that has happened in the past years, and which is still happening, indicates that this disappearance lies ahead of us. We are part of an eternal loop, a cycle, and our cycle is approaching its end.
You mean the end of humanity lies ahead?
Yes, it does. At first we considered it absurd, as probably you do at this moment. But there came a moment when we simply could not deny it anymore. We began to study the history of the Pyreans more intensely, and the parallels were extraordinary. In its early days, the Pyrean Empire was split up by a disaster, just like Vin was split up by the Starfall after the reign of the Eterna. Also, the Pyreans had a ruling caste who declared themselves gods after the catastrophe. The two castes of the Sun Priest. They, too, ruled until they were overthrown. This overthrowing was followed by an outbreak of wars and chaos. And then, just like that, the Pyreans ceased to exist. They knew it was imminent, but they could not prevent it. They called this event the Cleansing.
The Pyreans knew about the threat. Why didn't they try to do something about it?
They tried, but they failed. Who knows why? Maybe they found out too late, or maybe they were too weak.
How in blazes can an entire civilization just disappear?
That is the question we need to find an answer to. The end was not violent, at least not in a sense as we know it. There was no natural disaster, no magical explosion, no plague. Even though there was war in the Pyrean Empire before its ruin, when the cleansing happened, it was as if all living beings simply fell down and died. It is ghastly.
And where do I come in? Where do these visions of my powers come from?
Well, this is the reason why we need your help. Not only episodes of history recur within every cycle, characters do as well.
Characters reoccur?
Yes, the Pyreans call them the emissaries. They emerge very shortly before the cleansing occurs, like a law of nature, an answer to the Red Madness. And I am one of them, as are you. While I take on the role of the ruler, you take on the role of the prophet.
I'm supposed to be a prophet?
It's just a description. Call it what you will. But without doubt, it is the truth. Your story matches the descriptions perfectly.
Oh lord, there's a lot. And I take it the reason for the memories mages are here, isn't it? Icebark, Brigast, Chakram.
Yes. Former enemies or not, both sides have understood the magnitude of the threat. The magical knowledge of Narazul's former mages is vast, as is the power of the Holy Order. Even though not all of the Keepers agree, as you probably have already noted yourself.
And why of me of all people?
I do not know. Firespark the Mage has told me your story, and even though your fate is tragic, unlike me, you were insignificant before your change. So maybe everyone can become an emissary, or we simply have not understood the pattern yet.
If I play a role, does that mean that something is controlling me? Controlling us?
As I already said, the emissaries simply appear at the beginning of the end, like pieces on a chessboard. We are determined by our skills. How and to what end we use them is our choice.
What defines this prophet?
On the one hand, your power. You carry the potential to master any skill within a fraction of the usual time needed. I assume you have already realized this. On the other hand, your ability to look into the past, and therefore into the future.
Into the past, never into the future? What do you mean?
Your visions are a window into the past. And as every cycle is based on the same events, it is a window into the future as well. You can feel the thread this world is woven with. And because of that, you can see things that have happened, and thus will happen again. This gift makes you indispensable to us, and it is why I want your help.
And if all of this doesn't interest me?
Hollow words. Deep inside, you know your responsibility. Trust me, we are more alike than you believe.
Why do you think we can overcome this cycle in the first place after hundreds of civilizations have failed?
That is the wrong question. The correct question is, what alternative do we have? To wait and die?
He has got a fair point. Wasn't it for me, if I help you?
If it is wealth and power you seek, you will have it. The Order has enough of both.
Alright, if I can help, I will try to do so.
Good. However, there's one more thing before the actual work begins. I want you to join our Order, and to do so, you have to pass a test. A trial.
Join your order? Is this really necessary?
It is. Whatever you think about our story, we are the only faction that is strong enough to oppose the cycle. If you want to be part of our mission, you need to have access to our knowledge and resources. There will be voices in the Order speaking against your admission, as they are speaking against the presence of the Naramese mages. Consider it an honor or a necessity. It is up to you.
What kind of test are we talking about here?
It is the trial the novices have to pass in order to be exalted to the role of a keeper. Only the best students of the Squalor are allowed admission, and even though you have not been a novice, I want you to take it too. At this very moment, 2 novices are on their way to the testing grounds. I have informed them about your arrival.
Who are the 2 novices?
I have only a slight acquaintance with them. However, I know that they are both very talented and have been working hard toward the test. But see them for yourself.
You've already informed them. How would you know that I'd even fucking agree to this?
I had a hunch.
You had a
Let us
hunch.
leave it at that.
Okay. Very well, where can I find
At
them?
the border to the Heartland, near the Whisper Wood. They will be waiting for you there. Take the Myret, talk to Signet Master Bartar, and hand him this package. And then follow his orders. Ah, one more thing. It might be self-evident, but keep your knowledge about the death of the Lightborn to yourself. I do not believe you can do any real harm, but in the worst case, path-abiding people will consider you a heretic. After the cycle has been stopped, we will deliberate upon how we deal with the matter. If and how we tell our people about it. But not now, that is for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, leave. The sooner we can dispense with this formality, the better.
Something Momentous Part 1 completed. Part of Something Momentous.
This is holy ground, Outlander. You don't belong here.
Walk blessed, Prophet.
You were in prison for a very long time, weren't you? 30 years.
Yes. Why do you ask?
I can't imagine 30 years of imprisonment didn't leave any scars.
They did. What are you getting at?
You want me to trust your leadership? It's only fair that I learn more about you as a person.
A fair point. But in the future, just be upfront. I do not like such veiled remarks. So, yes, my time in the prison was harsh. The hunger, the degradation, to name the most obvious. The worst, however, was the isolation. Ironically enough, that was the last thing I had expected, you know. From all the suffering there is, it seems so banal. But it isn't. You either find ways to cope with it, or it breaks you. Fortunately, I managed to do the former. For me, it was memories of the time before my incarceration, the prospect of what would come after it. They were my window into the outer world, so to speak. They reminded me that I was more than this deprived creature I had become in those dungeons.
Figures. How did it feel to be free again?
Strange. Everything seemed too bright, too unreal. I especially felt that in the cloister with Narazul's mages. I had difficulty talking to other people, and whenever I did, it felt as if the others were like wax figures. Like some cruel joke put in front of my eyes in order to mock me.
And what's it like now?
Better. Our mission, my responsibility here as a leader, it has helped me to find my way back into the real world.
Actually, I'm surprised you went straight back to the Holy Order after all had happened. A lot of responsibility to take after such trauma.
What would have been the alternative? A life as a fisherman? If the things I had to live through taught me one thing, then it was how important it is for me to be right here, right now, doing what I do. In fact, this is precisely what is missing in the world. People who do not let the whims of fate break their resolve. Now, enough of this. We have business to attend to.
About the cycle.
Yes?
You tell me more about these emirates. What defines us?
That depends on whom you ask. In some writings of the Pyreans, we are referred to as chosen ones. But this is wrong. A better word would be chess figures with their own will. Whatever force causes the cycle also gave us powers and a task. But fulfilling that task is our own responsibility.
And you have no idea of why we were chosen?
No.
What exactly are these tasks we have to...
Well, that is something else we only know in broad strokes. It is my task to lead mankind in its battle against the cleansing, to rally our strengths, so to speak. Yours is to read the echo and help us gain the knowledge we need for victory. How exactly you're going to do that is something we still have to find out.
Apart from us, are there any other emirates?
I do not know, but there are hints. We will see.
The cycle, do you know how long it's been going on for?
Good question. In their writing, the Pyreans say it has existed for aeons. Since this world exists, since the sea of eventualities exists, so too then does the cycle. It seems to be a part of existence, so to speak.
What, and no one has ever succeeded in breaking a pattern? That's discouraging.
The Pyreans didn't, and neither did the dozen civilizations that came before them. That is what we know. But as for what happened before that, Our knowledge about the past is limited. All that matters for now is that the cycle threatens us, and that we have to stop it. Yes?
Or anything else? These visions I have, the echoes of the future, how exactly does it work?
As I said before, my knowledge about that is limited. But if it helps you, imagine that it is a way of perceiving that which connects us all, our subconscious.
You mean the place your dreams come from? The collective subconscious of mankind?
Yes. You know, most people perceive themselves as an entity separate from the rest of the world. And while this is partially true, there is something that connects us. Dark corners of our mind. Bridges to which we in a conscious state do not have access to. But you do not need to be supernaturally gifted to feel that these bridges exist. I am sure you have experienced it yourself at one time or another. A moment where you knew exactly what another person thought or would do next. People with close blood ties can especially feel that connection. Children and their mothers, siblings, and especially twins.
I've felt that, to be honest, in real life, to be honest. So, you're saying that all the humans are connected?
Correct. And while most people hardly feel this connection at all, as if looking through a tinted window, to you, it is wide open during your visions.
If that's the case, how do you explain that I can see memories of the Pyrians too? They've been dead for millennia.
Their bodies might be, but the traces they left behind still remain. Everything that was, everything that is, and everything that will be, it already exists in the sea of eventualities. This is the basic principle of magic. And time is not a straight line. Only the barriers of our mind make us perceive it as such. Visions, premonitions, dreams that become reality. These are all leftovers of waves from other eventualities that spill over into our reality. There have always been people able to read them, but none so good at it as you are, thanks to the echo.
Echo, 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 echo. Okay, that was a lot to take in, so apologise for that, guys. I do apologise. That was a shit ton of information to take in.